July 20th, 1969. A date etched into the annals of human history. Billions around the globe watched, captivated, as two men, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, planted the American flag on the lunar surface. A monumental achievement, humanity's giant leap, or so we were told. Because in the years, decades, and now over half a century since, a whisper has grown into a roar. What if it was all a lie? What if the moon landing was the ultimate deception, staged in a Hollywood studio, a masterful illusion to win the Cold War? Tonight, we confront the most persistent and mind-bending conspiracy theory of all time. We will lay out the claims, examine the evidence, and force you to ask, was it fake or was it true? If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe. One of the very first and most frequently cited pieces of evidence for a faked moon landing revolves around the American flag planted by Buzz Aldrin. Look closely at the photos and videos. It appears to be flapping, billowing in the wind. But how could that be? There's no atmosphere on the moon, no wind. This, say the skeptics, is undeniable proof it was filmed on Earth, in a breeze. But let's unpack this. NASA anticipated this exact issue. If a standard flag, like one on your flagpole at home, were simply draped from a pole on the moon, it would hang limply like a wet rag due to the lack of gravity and air resistance. To ensure the flag would stand out proudly for the cameras and symbolize the momentous occasion, they designed a special L-shaped flagpole. This pole had a horizontal bar extending from the top, allowing the flag to hang as if unfurled. Any apparent waves or creases you see are simply wrinkles in the tightly folded and packed flag that never completely flattened out in the vacuum. There was no wind needed, just a cleverly designed apparatus to make the flag visible and iconic. It's not a sign of wind, but a sign of ingenuity. Another perplexing detail for conspiracy theorists is the stark black sky in every photograph and video from the moon. Where are the stars? If we're out in space, beyond Earth's atmosphere, shouldn't the sky be absolutely teeming with brilliant points of light, far more than we see from Earth? Their absence is presented as glaring proof that these were mere sets, lit to simulate daylight, but without the effort of adding a realistic starry backdrop. Here's the science behind it. When taking photographs on the moon, the lunar landscape and the astronauts themselves were brilliantly lit by direct sunlight, harsh, unfiltered sunlight that is far more intense than any daylight on Earth. For a camera to properly expose such bright subjects, its aperture must be very small and its shutter speed very fast. Think of it like trying to photograph a brightly lit stage actor with a single faint candle in the background. If you expose for the actor, the candle virtually disappears. The stars, despite their individual brilliance, are incredibly distant and therefore, collectively, very dim compared to the sunlit lunar surface. To capture them, you would need a much longer exposure time, which would completely overexpose and blow out the foreground and the astronauts. The cameras were simply set to capture the immediate environment and the astronauts, not the distant cosmic background. The lack of stars isn't an oversight in a fake set. It's a testament to the photographic conditions in an extremely bright, sunlit vacuum. Conspiracy theorists often point to shadows in the lunar photographs, arguing they don't appear parallel, suggesting multiple light sources like studio lights rather than the single distant light source of the sun. If the sun is the only light, shouldn't all shadows fall perfectly parallel to each other? This argument, however, misunderstands the fundamental principles of perspective. Think of train tracks running into the distance. They are perfectly parallel, yet they appear to converge at a vanishing point on the horizon. The same applies to shadows. When you have objects of varying heights on an uneven surface, and a camera taking a photo from a particular angle, shadows that are indeed parallel in reality will appear to converge or diverge due to the camera's perspective. The lunar surface isn't perfectly flat, and the camera angles vary. The sun, being an effectively infinite distance away, acts as a single, parallel light source. What we're seeing in the photos is not evidence of multiple studio lights, but rather the natural optical illusion of perspective on a non-uniform surface. Perhaps one of the most serious claims leveled against the moon landing is the seemingly insurmountable hurdle of the Van Allen belts. These are two donut-shaped regions of highly energetic charged particles trapped by Earth's magnetic field. Conspiracy theorists argue that the radiation within these belts would have been lethal to the astronauts, frying them with a fatal dose of radiation on their way to the moon. Therefore, they say, no human could have survived the journey. While the Van Allen belts do indeed contain dangerous levels of radiation, NASA was acutely aware of this challenge long before Apollo 11. Firstly, the Apollo missions used trajectories that took the spacecraft through the thinnest and least intense parts of the inner belt and skirted the outer belt. Secondly, the spacecraft passed through these belts very quickly, in just a few hours. This limited exposure time significantly reduced the total radiation dose. Finally, the aluminum hull of the Apollo command module provided sufficient shielding against much of the radiation. Astronauts were continuously monitored for radiation exposure, and their actual doses were well within safe limits comparable to receiving a few chest X-rays. While dangerous if prolonged, the brief, carefully navigated transit through the belts, combined with the spacecraft's shielding, meant the radiation posed a manageable, not insurmountable risk to the crews. While the hoax claims rely on misinterpretations of physics, photography, and engineering, the evidence for the moon landing's authenticity is not just compelling, but overwhelming and undeniable. It comes from multiple independent sources that leave no room for doubt. First, and perhaps most irrefutable, are the moon rocks. NASA brought back 382 kilograms, or 842 pounds, of lunar rocks, core samples, pebbles, dust, and soil. These samples have been analyzed by scientists worldwide, not just at NASA, but in labs across the globe, including hostile nations like the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Their chemical composition, age, and unique properties are distinct from any Earth rocks and are consistent with a lunar origin. They couldn't have been fabricated, nor could they have come from Antarctica or any other earthly location. Second, the lunar retroreflectors. The Apollo missions left behind special mirror arrays on the moon's surface. Scientists on Earth regularly fire lasers at these reflectors, and the lasers bounce back. The precise timing of the return signal allows us to accurately measure the distance to the moon. These reflectors are still there, still working, and anyone with the right equipment can confirm their presence. They are undeniable proof that something, placed by humans, exists at the Apollo landing sites. Third, independent tracking. During the Apollo missions, the flight paths were not only tracked by NASA, but also by independent observatories and radio telescopes around the world, including those in the Soviet Union and other nations, who had no interest in validating an American hoax. They verified the trajectories, the signals, and the splashdowns. Fourth, direct observation of landing sites. More recently, lunar orbiters from various nations, including NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, LRO, India's Chandrayaan-1, and Japan's Selene, have photographed the Apollo landing sites with incredible detail. These images clearly show the descent stages of the lunar modules, the tracks left by astronauts and rovers, scientific instruments, and even the flag standing precisely where they were left. There's even a before and after comparison possible with some sites, proving they weren't there prior to the landings. These are not grainy, ambiguous images. They are high-resolution photographs visible to anyone with access to the data. So if the evidence for the moon landing is so overwhelming, why do conspiracy theories persist? It's a fascinating study in human psychology. Conspiracy theories often arise when there's a lack of trust in authority, particularly during times of social upheaval or conflict, like the Cold War era. They offer simple, often dramatic explanations for complex events, providing a sense of secret knowledge to those who believe them. For many, the sheer scale of the achievement, coupled with the grainy footage and the passage of time, makes it almost too incredible to believe. It's easier for some to accept a grand deception than to grasp the monumental effort, risk, and scientific genius that allowed humanity to step onto another world. But the reality is, the moon landing wasn't just a triumph of engineering. It was a testament to human ingenuity, perseverance, and the relentless pursuit of the unknown. It happened, and it was undeniably, spectacularly real. The moon landing stands as one of humanity's defining moments, a testament to what we can achieve when we dare to dream beyond our planet. While the debates continue in some corners of the internet, the overwhelming scientific and historical evidence paints a clear picture. Humanity did indeed take that giant leap, but what are your thoughts? Did we miss any crucial piece of the puzzle? Do you have a favorite theory or an undeniable fact about the moon landing? Share your insights in the comments below. We love reading your perspectives. If you found this deep dive into the moon landing controversy insightful, please give this video a like. It really helps our channel grow and reach more curious minds like yours. Don't forget to subscribe for more explorations into the mysteries of our world and beyond, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next journey into the unknown.